Hello students, today we're going to talk about forming a cool creature or body part with clay. There's so many things you can make using simple forms and shapes that are really interesting that we'll be making in clay. There's so many ideas you can go with this, and I want you to try a lot of strategies today while we are experimenting with our modeling clay. The basic idea is that we're going to form something called a pinch pot. It's a very round, even bowl that works well in a kiln or the place where we cook or fire our pottery to make it nice and hard. This is an example of some of them that have been colored. So we're going to practice with modeling clay today. When you get it, it'll be a chunk. It might already be in a sphere, but I'm going to break off like a third of it to use for parts. And then the other part I'm going to turn into a ball or a sphere. You can do this any way you want with modeling clay. With real clay, it's nice to bump it and condense it. Modeling clay has to be warmed up in your hands a little bit so that it is pliable. But with real clay, we don't want to mush it around too much. We just want to get it into a ball. So a smooth ball. With one thumb, you need to push straight down in the center to kind of get that general bowl shape. You're then going to rotate and pinch or squeeze, but evenly and not too small on any part of the bowl. So very slowly, your ball becomes more and more of a bowl as you turn and press. If you do it very fast with tight squeezes, then your real clay is going to break into parts. With modeling clay, it's a little more forgiving, but what I want to check is I'm going to want to touch your bowl and feel with my fingers that it is even all around the whole thing. One place that it can hide some bulkiness is down in the lower parts of the bowl. We want it to be very, very even all the way around. Once it's even, you can start to form your vessel or your container. I liked to kind of form a lip shape here, and then I'm using my fingernail to scratch the two pieces that will connect. You don't actually have to do this with modeling clay, but since we're using real clay next class, I want to practice that idea of scratching two connecting pieces right where they're going to touch. So I just tried adding a tongue. It's nice to start with a round sphere for any parts that you're forming. Here I'm going to add one of those little doohickeys in the back of the throat. You don't have to add any of these parts in particular, but I would like you to think about mouths, because this will end up probably looking like a large, open, expressive mouth of some type. Here I decided to try and make something that would look like a tooth. I'm scratching it with my fingernail where the two places will touch, and I'm pressing them in. You also have to do some smoothing to get it to stay in. And I'll talk about that more with our real nature clay next time. With modeling clay, getting them warm really helps. So you're gonna do, this is kind of like sketching ideas, but with your hands and using form. After you do your form sketch, I'd like you to sketch it in your notebook, because that way we can save it for next time. We will not be saving our modeling clay today. This is only for experimentation. I can take photographs perhaps, but I really want you to sketch your favorite ideas in your sketchbook. And I know that's not easy to translate something in 3D to your sketchbook, but I want you to do a rough idea. You might even want to try doing some experiments by sketching first and then try that out with your piece. You can keep your basic form of a pinch pot and then try something new, so that when you come in next week, you're pretty ready with your idea, and we've maybe had a chance to chat about it and make sure it's going to hold up. One of the biggest problems that happens is people try to use tiny little pieces of clay, skinny or tiny, and then those break off. So what's going to be really important next week with real clay that we're talking about this week is using nice big chunky pieces and really attaching them well with the scratching. All right, that's all I'm going to say for today. Let's try and get started.